Coupled with the sorrow, there was anger and revulsion in Israel. It might have been worse, but Prime Minister Golda Meir said she approved of the German use of force, that she was only sorry the efforts to free the Israeli hostages failed. In Tel Aviv, Ed Rabel sought reaction from relatives and friends of the dead athletes.
This is Wingate, the sprawling physical fitness institute where the Israeli Olympic participants trained in Israel. Here at Wingate, as elsewhere in the Jewish state, the Israeli flag alongside a black banner is at half-mast. The mourning over the deaths of the Israelis has begun. Here on the Wingate grounds is where Moshe Weinberg lived with his wife and an only child, just 1 month old. He was the big coach of wrestling at the institute who died during the initial terrorist attack at the Olympic Village. A neighbor, Mrs. Marilyn Bar-Or.
I think he was very excited about the games this time because he had 2 fine wrestlers, immigrants from Russia, both of whom I think were killed. And he really felt that he was going to put Israeli wrestling on the map. He felt that all the time, but he was really very encouraged this time. As it turned out, he had perhaps the largest squad to take to the Olympics for Israel. I think our experience has proved that we have to look after ourselves, and we perhaps do it better than anyone else. I think there must have been gross negligence in the security arrangements, just for letting people in and out generally, and not to speak of the Israelis specifically. And I think we have learned that we have to have our own people in some guise or other guarding. It's a terrible thing to have to fall back on, but if nobody else is going to take the responsibility for it, we'll have to do it ourselves.
Another coach on the Israeli team, Amitzer Shapiro, lived here at number 6 Ben Yehuda in Herzliya near Tel Aviv. His family closed their doors to the outside after they learned of his death. A friend, Harvey Otz, was a student of track under Mr. Shapiro. How is Mrs. Shapiro taking this?
She's taking it very hard. I asked her if she needs any help or anything. The only thing she said, she wants her husband, nothing more she can take.
In the Neve Sharet quarter of Tel Aviv, the family of Eliezer Halfin learned only early this morning that he was killed. In the same neighborhood, the family of Kehat Shor, the coach of the Israeli rifle team. The bodies of the Israeli sportsmen will be returned to Israel tomorrow when there will be funeral services. Meanwhile, out of the mourning for those who died, there is a growing awareness among Israelis that they are not safe from guerrilla attacks when they leave their country, and that somehow they must be protected. Ed Rabel, CBS News, Israel.
Although most of the 18 Arab nations officially were silent on the Munich events, the guerrillas hailed their dead comrades as heroes and martyrs. In a radio broadcast from Cairo, the guerrillas charged that German police trapped the terrorists, fired first, and thus are guilty of brutality and thirst for Palestinian blood. For that, the guerrillas said, West German interests can expect more trouble. Meanwhile, Lebanon joined Jordan in denouncing the terrorist attack and expressed sorrow for what happened in Munich. Despite strong ties between Russia and the Arab world, the Soviet news agency TASS reported the Russian Olympians profoundly deplore the tragedy. But in Moscow, police rounded up some 30 Jews trying to demonstrate in front of the Lebanese embassy, herded them into buses, and drove them away. It wasn't known if they were jailed. Earlier in the day, police kept a group of Jews away from the Netherlands embassy as they tried to send a message of condolence to Israel.